against the USA.
Wow, this is a nice crowd. This is a very nice crowd. Wow. And you have to see all of the people that are outside. They can't get in because you've taken their place. That's not nice. That's not nice. Hello, Richmond. I'm thrilled to be back in the beautiful Virginia. We love Virginia. How much? We're going to make a big play for Virginia. You know that. And I think we can do it. We win Virginia. We win it 100%. It's over. The election would be over. So let's do it, right? Let's do it. We're going to be here. We've always done well here. But I'm with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. That's what we all are. That's what we are. Over the past week, it's been sort of in a rocket. We've been launching like a rocket to the Republican nomination. We just got numbers today that were unbelievable, but we won Iowa in a record, New Hampshire in a record. In Iowa, we got the highest vote count ever ×2. In New Hampshire, we had the most votes in the history of the New Hampshire primary. That covers a lot of territory. For both parties, by the way. Got a lot of people up there, like the Kennedy clan, etc. Nevada, we won in a record. You saw that, 97%. The Virgin Islands, we took that one in a record. We got a record so far. Let's keep it going. And 1 week ago, we won South Carolina, beating the ex-governor by an unprecedented number and getting double the number of votes of any previous candidate in history. South Carolina. We love South Carolina. And as you know, today we have two contests, Missouri and the remainder of Michigan. You know, we won Michigan by a lot, but that was about a third. But today it looks like we're winning close to 100% of both Missouri and Michigan, adding on to the last two total. Last Tuesday, Michigan total was a record, but now we're adding on the rest. So we won almost, I guess, close to 90% of the vote. What's going on here? This is getting to be crazy, right? This is getting to be pretty wild. And it's a great honor, I'll tell you, because we have to let them know we're coming for them. We're coming on November 5th, Joe's Crooked Sleepy Joe. Crooked Sleepy. I like that. I like that. Crooked Sleepy. Maybe we'll call them both. You know, I took the name of Hillary Crooked. I wanted to use it for Joe because I thought it was very accurate. But I got rid of Sleepy, and Sleepy was good. But how about Crooked Sleepy Joe? You know, you could do a double. That's what you got. Next up, as you know, Super Tuesday. And without any big lessons in anything, that means Tuesday coming up, March 5th, just 3 days from now, and it's time for the Commonwealth of Virginia to finally have your say and get it done the way you want to have it done. Get out and vote. Got to get out and vote. We want to send a big signal, so it's important. I mean, we don't need your vote. We want you to get out, though, and vote in big margins, and we want to send that little freight train going along because it's going to be the big day. The biggest day in the history of our country is November 5th. That's the biggest day because our country is being destroyed by an incompetent president, a corrupt president, the worst president we've ever had. The worst we've ever had. And we want to send a signal. We need each and every one of you to get every patriot that you know and turn them out to vote. You have to do this on Tuesday and just turn them out and vote in big numbers. It's going to send a signal. You know, the New York Times came out with a poll. They just announced it. Devastating for the New York Times. They don't like the way that. Well, I give them credit. I gave them credit. You know, the Washington Post came out with a big poll a couple of months ago, and they wanted to know, was there a mistake? Oh, please let there be. There's no mistake. New York Times has us way up over Crooked Joe Biden, way, way, way up. And one of the greatest things was really, one aspect of the poll was where they say, really great excitement and enthusiasm for the candidate, almost 50%. That's a tremendous number. The rest are, oh, he's good. But I mean, super enthusiasm, that's a number that people just don't get. So I'm honored, and we're all honored because we're all in this mess together. Let's face it, this country is a mess. We got 15, 16 million people came in, and they came in from prisons and jails. They came in from mental institutions and insane asylums. They're terrorists, they're drug dealers. We are really going to be a very different country. We have to have it stopped. With your help, we will win big on Super Tuesday. And this November, Virginia is going to tell Crooked Joe Biden, you're fired. You're fired. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of the White House. Should have never been in the White House. He should have never been in the White House. We wouldn't be in this mess, but he should have never been there. And everybody in this room knows it. They go after the guys that complain about the election, not the guys that rigged the election. Isn't that interesting, right? Among my very first actions upon taking office will be quite simply to seal the border and stop the invasion of our country. 2 days ago, I was with Governor Greg Abbott at the Texas border. He's doing a really good job to witness the total devastation that Crooked Joe Biden and his stupid policy of open borders. Who would do this to? Who would do this? No country would do this. What it's done to us as a country. Our border is an open and gushing wound, pouring drugs, gangs, terrorists, and millions of illegal aliens into our country. Many, many people that are not supposed to be in our country. So unfair to people that are online for 10 years. They study, they work, they do everything right, and then they see millions of people come in with no recourse, no nothing, no retribution. Yet Crooked Joe is fighting the state of Texas to stop them from defending our border. They're doing a job for the country. They're actually cutting the wire fences open to let thousands of migrants come pouring in. The migrants that they have no idea, they're from parts unknown. You know what that means, parts unknown? They're coming from the Congo. They come from all parts of Africa, Asia, the Middle East. Last night they had 4 from the Congo. Where in the Congo do you live? I wonder what beautiful place do you live in the Congo? We are from prison. What did you do? Murder. They're in the United States right now, right? This is what they're allowing. But it's Africa, it's Asia, it's the Middle East, it's people that we're bombing. Here goes Biden again with the bombing. You don't have to bomb. You don't have to bomb. We can get it done with a phone call. We had let me tell you. A properly placed phone call can work miracles, can it? We did plenty of them. We didn't have to bomb, and we didn't have to spend the money and the killing and everything else, and the world hates us to a level that you've never seen. Remember, I kept you out of wars, except I did defeat ISIS very strongly. We defeated ISIS. We took them. Al-Baghdadi, Soleimani. We did a number that nobody's ever seen. It was going to take 4 to 5 years, they said, in Washington. It would take 4 to 5 years. I did it in 4 weeks. We knocked them out. General Raisin came, right? Raisin came. We knocked them out in 4 weeks. And that was 100% of the ISIS caliphate. The ISIS caliphate, they said, was going to take years to do. We did it in 4 weeks. When I'm president, instead of trying to send Texas a restraining order, I will send them reinforcements. 3 years ago, we had the safest and most secure border in the United States history. We had the best border in the history of our country. We ended catch and release, except when we did catch and release into Mexico. We had catch and release into Mexico. Used to be we catch a criminal and release him into our country. We caught criminals, we released them into Mexico. That was much better. We built 571 miles of border wall and got Mexico to send us 28,000 soldiers to guard our border free of charge. You think that was easy? You think that was easy? I said to the president, we need you to give us free of charge 28,000 soldiers. No, Donald, I will not do that. I said, no, you have to do it. He's a great guy, by the way, but he's a tough negotiator. And I said, no, you have to do it. No, we would not do. Why would we do such a thing? He's right, actually, But I said, look, if you don't do it, we're going to put a 25% tariff on every car that you make, send in, and every product that you make. And then they said, Donald, it would be a great honor to do it. Mr. President, it would be a great honor to supply you with 28,000 soldiers. I can think of nothing I'd rather do, they said. Now we had 28,000 Mexican soldiers stopping people from coming in. And once we did that, all of a sudden, it all stopped. The caravan stopped. It all stopped because now they're doing a lot of work for us. And this guy Biden ended that. He ended remain in Mexico. How about remain in Mexico? Is that good? You think that was easy to get? Check out Tijuana. This was a crowded place. That was probably the fastest growing city in history. It was what a mess that was. But they weren't in the United States. We had remain in Mexico, safe third agreements, asylum bans, Title 42, and a thing called rapid removal. Do you know what that means? You don't have to be too smart to know. Rapid removal. They come in, we rapidly remove them from our country. If you broke in, we caught you, we detained you, and we deported you very quickly. It was like clockwork. We had the greatest border. We had the safest border in history. Let there be no doubt, this is Joe Biden's invasion. This is Joe Biden's destruction of our country. If you take the 10 worst presidents in history and add them up and put them together, nobody has done the destruction to our country as this incompetent president that we have right now. And you know this, you've heard enough of the talk. I have great respect for the office of the president, for the presidency, tremendous respect. When I won, I went to the White House and I stood with our great first lady opposite the Lincoln bedroom, and I said, do you believe this? Can you believe this? Because it takes a while. It's like a surreal experience, but it was so incredible. I have great respect for that whole thing. That's so beautiful. But then he did something that was undoable. Every critic, even the really bad radical left press that are back there. The enemy of our country, the radical left press, said they'll never indict him on this stuff. He can't be indicted. They said it'll never happen. It'll never happen. They have no legal grounds, but they did. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. I got 4 indictments, more than Al Capone, the most vicious mobster in history. The great Alphonse Capone. I use him as the example because he's like the ultimate. If he took you to dinner and you smiled at him the wrong way, he would kill you. By the time you got home, you were dead. He was indicted twice. Trump got indicted 4 times. My parents are looking down. They said, what the hell happened to our boy? What happened to him? But think of that, the biggest gangster of them all, Alphonse Capone, he's probably looking down and saying, that guy's actually a very nice person, I can't believe it. But he did this, and the press and all of the legal pundits said you can't. I mean, take a look. I was indicted by Fannie in Georgia, Fannie. How did that work out? And her lover, Nathan Wade. And they hired him for almost $1 million because of his great experience. Of course, he didn't have any experience. He had experience in something else, you know that. A lot of experience. And at that, I'm quite sure he was very good based on the fact that she called him 2,000 times. I didn't know the gentleman. I didn't know him. Oh, you have 2,000 phone calls, 3,500 text messages. How is it possible? I know a lot of people. We like a lot of people. I happen to have a very good relationship with a woman called Melania. But I would venture to say in all the years that I've known her, I might not have called her 2,500 times. I know I didn't send 3,500 text messages. And they did this in a very short period. But they knew each other long before this indictment. So you look at that, well, that's so terrible. The boxers hoax. Well, Joe Biden had more boxes than any human being ever. And they let him off. Of course, I wouldn't want to be let off that way. They say he's incompetent. We'll let him off. So I don't like that. But I also come under the Presidential Record Act, which gives you absolute rights to do it. He didn't have the Presidential Records Act. And then you look at January 6th. It was a rigged election. And we're looking at it. And almost everybody in this room agrees. It was a rigged election. And that rigged election destroyed our country. And then we have the DA in Manhattan, who is actually run by the DOJ. You know, they put their top guy into the DA's office to run the DA. The whole thing is so corrupt. Fannie is just the beginning. It's not really, excuse me, I'd like to apologize to Fannie. It's F-A-N-I. She pronounces it Fawny. I don't see it. To me, it's Fannie. The very first bill that Crooked Joe sent to Congress was a bill to turn illegal aliens into voting citizens. Now he's pushing another mass amnesty plan while calling it border security. He's saying mass amnesty. We're going to go border security. Let's call it That was like some of the bills he passed, right? Do you remember the bills he passed? He put phony names on the bills because it sounded good. It wasn't good. The Inflation Reduction Act, right? And then he admitted after it got passed, it actually has nothing to do with inflation reduction. It actually has to do with inflation increase. Okay? It was a fake bill. The bill Joe Biden once passed would give him unlimited power to grant asylum to millions and millions and millions of illegals. You know what they call them now, right? You know, they changed the name as of yesterday. You know what they call them? Newcomers. It's newcomers. No, the word is newcomers. We're not allowed to say it's politically incorrect. This political incorrect stuff is killing it. From now on, you have to call them newcomers or you will be indicted by the DOJ in Washington. They will indict you immediately, the DOJ. No, they said last night, we are going to call the people that came into our country. We used to call them illegal aliens. We call them a lot of different names. But newcomers is a step too far. But they are newcomers from now on. Please, everybody call them. Does everybody agree with that? Newcomers. I'm shocked to hear that. The Biden border will, well, you know this, right? The Biden border bill would turbocharge the continued invasion of our country, and therefore his plan would totally demolish Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, healthcare, and all of public education. And you know they're going to be getting all of these things that are already in trouble, and they're going to destroy all of that. And you see what's going on in New York? They have pupils from foreign countries, from countries where they don't even know what the language is. We have nobody that even teaches it. These are languages that nobody ever heard of. They're sitting in the school chairs of people, of kids that were there, and those kids aren't able to go to school any longer. There's no place they can go. They're taking the school, and they don't speak a word of English, so the teacher's up there teaching, and they don't know what the hell is going on. Our country is being laughed at all over the world. But I will not let him destroy Social Security. I will not let him crash Medicare. I will not let him turn our public schools into migrant camps, which is what they're doing. And I will not let him turn the USA into a crime-filled, disease-ridden dumping ground. You know, people with terrible, terrible disease that is easily caught, I have to say, they're pouring into our country in addition to everything else. It's so crazy. Who would want this? Think of it. Who would want this? Open borders where people are allowed to come in from mental institutions and jails. Who would want this? Who would? Is there something good? I guess the only thing I could say is they're trying to sign them up to get them to vote in the next election. That's all it is. But they don't really need that because what they do is they just use blank ballots. You know, they just drop ballots. So they don't really have to destroy our country for that. Although when you use blank ballots, I would say that's also destroying our country. Wouldn't you say? Every day, Joe Biden is giving aid and comfort to the foreign enemies of the United States. Biden's conduct on our border is by any definition a conspiracy to overthrow the United States of America. That's what's happening. The anger, the hatred, the fear. Biden and his accomplices, and that's what it is. It's really more the accomplices. I mean, the guy can't put two sentences together. He can't find the stairs to a platform. I have to be careful. You know, every time I do that, my wife called. I said, how good was that speech tonight? I had 29,000 people. How good was that? She said it was good, darling, but they said you had a terrible time finding your way off the platform. So every time I do that, or I'll say, our president, Barack Hussein Obama, now I do that because, you know, that makes a point. Do we understand that, right? Because a lot of people say he's running the country. I don't personally think so. But it is being run by a group of radical left thugs that circle the beautiful desk, the Resolute desk, one of the most beautiful desks in the world. It's been badly stained by the occupant right now. But, you know, but when I say Barack Hussein Obama, the president of our country, on the news that night they go, Donald Trump didn't know the name of our president. He said it was President Obama. It's President Biden. So I have to be very, very careful. I have to be very, very careful. We have many of them. I purposely mix up like a name like Birdbrain. You know who Birdbrain is, right, Dickie? With Nancy Pelosi. I put them in because they're interchangeable in my mind. And except, I have to say, I shouldn't say this about a semi-Republican, but I think Pelosi's probably a little bit smarter, actually. It's too bad to say. But you know what? So you interchange them, and then they go out with first. I cannot be sarcastic, so I tried not to be. I just did that thing for the first time in like 2 weeks because it's a disaster. Guaranteed, the fake news, the enemy of the people, will say, he could not find his way off the stage. So we have to be very careful. Between that and AI, we got a lot of problems coming. Biden and his accomplices want to collapse the American system, nullify the will of the actual American voters, and establish a new base of power that gives them absolute control over you. And I think it's less Biden than the fascists that are in the office, because I don't think Biden knows where the hell he is. Okay, I think the last thing he's thinking about is let's take the country for a ride for the next 20 years. I don't think so. He wants to be around to make it. Who thinks he's going to make it? Who thinks he's going to make it to November 5th? And let's do a poll. This is a poll of people with common sense. You know, I don't even say conservative so much. You're conservative, but what are we really? We're people with common sense. We want to have borders. We want to have a free, fair election. We don't want to have crazy forms of counting our vote. We want to have paper ballots, same-day voting, voter ID, nice and simple. I like that group over there. Is there anything better, think of this, than a Trump rally in Virginia? Is there anything? No. You know, I just left. I did another one of these. You think this is easy doing this? I had a nice life. I didn't have to do this. I had such a nice life, and then I would deal with these sick people. And you know, China, Russia, North Korea, all of these countries, they're easy compared to dealing with the radical left lunatics in the United States. The easy part. Somebody said, is it tough dealing with China? I said, it's tougher dealing with the crazies in the U.S. It is true. We want to impeach him for making a perfect phone call. I made a perfect call. You know, it turned out to be that call turned out to be much more perfect than people think. I was exactly right on that call. I got impeached for making a perfect phone call. Crooked Joe will not succeed with these plans, and he will not get away with these crimes and their crimes. He will be tried at the ballot box this November, and he will be judged and convicted by the American people. Under Biden, we now have a new category of crime. You know what it's called? It's called migrant crime. And this category is turning out to be worse than any crime we've ever had in our country. I saw things that I've never thought. These are tough people that come over, and they do. They come out of prisons, they come out of these institutions, and they're rough people. These are rough people. The only good thing is they make our criminals look like relatively nice people. Okay? I saw something in New York. I've never seen it before. I've seen guys sort of, run and hit a cop and run away. They were having fistfights with the cops in the middle of Madison Avenue. Fistfights. Where the cops are at. These guys are at. They were from Venezuela. And you know how long they'd last in Venezuela if they did that in Venezuela? I'd say they'd be alive for about 2 minutes before they got shot. But we have a little different way. We have a politically correct atmosphere. But what the people that they're sending into this country, it's not the deal. And we have a new form of crime. It's migrant crime. I was going to call it Biden migrant crime. But if you do that, it's too long. It doesn't work. It's like I have a new name for Gavin Newsom. I have a new name. You know what it is, right? Does anybody know what it is? Newscum. Gavin Newscum. I don't know if it's good or bad. We'll find out. I'd love to run against him, actually. This guy says California's doing so well. It's not doing well. It's doing horribly, actually. No, Gavin Newscum. Last week, a beautiful 22-year-old nursing student in Georgia, beautiful, beautiful girl. I spoke with her parents yesterday. Beautiful, beautiful person. Lakin Riley was barbarically attacked while she was